What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this issue, we're going to be talking about Batgirl issue number 7. This one is written by Tate Brownbell, and it is The Secrets of Shiva. So this is Cassandra Cain. Obviously, she's not going to be dressed up in the Batgirl suit when she's on this train, but it's her getting a diary from her mom, where her mom is going to tell her more about her past origin story. And that's basically the issue. It's mostly a Lady Shiva issue. And so if you haven't been familiar with Shiva, or you're like me who doesn't really know all the details of her backstory, I'm not sure how this connects to some of her stuff in the past. I haven't really read anything, to be 100% honest, when it comes to Lady Shiva. But I think this is a pretty good I guess intro for it's a fresh perspective on it, I should say. So for newer readers, or maybe some old time readers, will probably get into this thing a little bit more. But if you're not as familiar with Shiva or know much about her backstory, this is a good starting point. So this is just kind of okay, this is what it is. So yeah, so basically, like I said, Cassandra gets this diary from her mom, and again, this is a really nicely drawn comic from start to finish, and Tate Brownbell has done a really good job writing the storyline so far. So it's kind of an audio and a visual storyline. So Cassandra gets a note from her mom, the diary, and she also gets this audio tape where her mom is basically telling her the story. We learn that she had a really strong connection with her sister, and they were orphaned as a result of some violent members of her family. I think it was her uncle, as they come to reveal as the thing goes on, killed her parents, and they were basically left on kind of some orphanage of sorts in the Himalayas where they were raised together. And her sister was her emotional anchor, and she was there was a difference between Shiva before her sister and afterwards. Obviously, to my knowledge, I think her sister ends up dying because we don't see her in present day, and that's basically going to be the event that turns her into Lady Shiva, kind of this cruelness. But there was a softness to her beforehand, but it still is them constantly on the run and dealing with the problems of having all these people kind of after them and such. So again, this is a good sort of backstory for Shiva. We don't get the full details of everything. Her sister is there to kind of help people out, and then we have they're kind of enjoying their life there for the most part. They finally have a home, but because they stepped up to some people trying to take money from some villagers who also work for a more powerful force of sorts, then that brings forth the main soldiers, and that's where they come in and try to unleash hell. And the two sisters are kind of forced to run away, and Cass is kind of looking out into the distance as she's listening, thinking of oh wow, so my mom may not have always been the person I see her as. There may have been a different side to her that we're gaining insight to by learning a little bit about her sister. And it basically ends with them escaping their little village in the Himalayas that was getting burned down to the ground. And that's kind of where the issue ends. So I like this thing quite a bit. I think the artwork is pretty solid. I think it's nice to kind of tell the story more so of Lady Shiva, because we really haven't had anything, to my knowledge, in quite a while that's focused on Shiva's backstory. I mean, I've been reading so many of these Batman-related books since, the whole Rebirth era began, but I don't think we've really done anything with Shiva's, really going into her background in many, 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 many years. So I think this is a good refresher, because sometimes I feel because of the way continuity shifts around, and they've had so many events that have changed things, there's this pre-52, new 52, yada, yada. You kind of have to, retell things a little bit every, once in a while. And I think doing that with Shiva, and then kind of putting the perspective of Cass sitting there and trying to learn more about her mother after she supposedly died. I say supposedly because do we know for a fact 100% that she's dead, or maybe she's still alive? I don't know. Maybe time will tell, because Cass is off to go look for Richard Dragon, and I know the end of this issue is kind of lead to learning more about Cass's father, David Kane. So that'll be interesting to see how that's kind of retold or told again for the first time within the pages of Shiva's diary, why she ended up having a baby with this guy and such. So I don't know. I'm interested to see which direction it goes in. But like I said, artwork is pretty good. It's nice to get a storyline more so focused on Shiva, with Cass just kind of reading the storyline I thought that was kind of a nice little touch where we're still going to learn more about this as she's kind of heading towards her destination. So I think this is good. Like, this is a good storyline to kind of get the more backstory of Shiva and have Cass try to gain some sort of understanding of her mom and such. So, and the artwork is quite good too, and learning more about Shiva's past and more about her sister and all that too. I think that's, you know, some pretty good stuff. So, but anyways, what did you all think of it? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit that bell for notifications, all that other fun stuff. That's going to wrap it up for the DC comic book reviews for this week. Happy Mother's Day to all those who are currently like listening to this video on Sunday, and hope everyone has a good one. So it's a very beautiful day here, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to get this done, and then my other 2 comic book reviews, and then I'll be all caught up with comic book stuff and ready to go into next week. So I'm looking forward to that. So, but anyways, that's all I have to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.